Two worlds, one shattered system. When humanity and its allies follow a mysterious signal, they find more than they expected. Conflict, mystery, and the fragile future of life itself. Welcome to Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Ruin. Children of Ruin is the second installment in Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time trilogy. It follows the first entry, Children of Time, which lends its name to the entire series, and it is succeeded by Children of Memory. Children of Ruin was published in the year 2019, just 4 years after the release of the first novel. It spans 597 pages, maintaining a page count similar to that of its predecessor. Narratively, Children of Ruin presents a separate story within the same universe, while also continuing the overarching narrative introduced in the first book. When it comes to scientific accuracy and technological plausibility, Children of Ruin ranks highly on the Mohs scale of science fiction hardness. Concepts such as general relativity and sublight speed space travel help to anchor the narrative in well-established scientific principles. Although the novel takes more creative liberties than Children of Time, particularly in its portrayal of biological evolution and the potential development of technologies, such as the choice of substrate for computing, these elements serve to preserve narrative continuity and enrich the thematic depth. Importantly, they do so without straying too far from scientific plausibility. The fictional universe is expanded with new settings, while also retaining those established in the first novel. However, although still reasonably vast, it does not reach the scale one might expect from other space opera series. To some extent, this limitation is also a result of the novel's page count. In terms of originality and conceptual innovation, Children of Ruin continues its exploration of animal uplifting and alternative evolutionary paths, particularly in relation to the emergence of consciousness and intelligence. While these ideas are not entirely groundbreaking, Adrian Tchaikovsky once again brings a fresh perspective to themes that are often handled with less enthusiasm by other authors in the genre. Regarding character dynamics, Children of Ruin strikes a balance between the focused intimacy of a chamber piece and the broader scope of a large ensemble. It introduces a mix of entirely new characters alongside returning figures from the previous novel. The narrative avoids overwhelming the reader with too many perspectives, yet provides enough variety to explore the story's complex themes from multiple angles, even across long timescales. In terms of critical reception, Children of Ruin has been well recognized. It won the 2019 BSFA Award for Best Novel and, as part of the overall trilogy, contributed to Children of Time winning the Hugo Awards for Best Series in 2023. However, the latter award was subject to some controversy due to irregularities in the shortlist selection process. From the standpoint of popular reception, Children of Ruin has been met with widespread acclaim. It holds an aggregated score of approximately 4.1 out of 5 stars across various review platforms, based on thousands of reader ratings. Nevertheless, it does not quite reach the level of popular enthusiasm that Children of Time achieved. At this point, I must issue a spoiler warning for Children of Time, and to a lesser extent Children of Ruin itself. Please heed this warning and take the clearly marked spoiler tags into consideration. The story of Children of Ruin begins around the same time as the original events of Children of Time, in the aftermath of chaos caused by the transmission of an advanced computer virus. This virus renders most electronics completely useless. In Children of Ruin, a team of terraformers working in a system that contains 2 potentially habitable planets finds itself stranded and cut off from the rest of humanity. Although this is a catastrophic development, the team decides to continue with their mission, driven in part by the astonishing discoveries they make on the surface of one of the two planets. Centuries later, following the events of Children of Time, the descendants of humanity and their new arachnid allies detect a mysterious radio signal from a distant star. Hoping to uncover another remnant of humanity's legacy, they follow the signal, only to find a system in disarray, where warring factions battle against the consequences of what the original terraformers awakened long ago. At first glance, one could argue that the terraformer storyline in Children of Ruin follows similar, if not identical, plot beats to those seen in Children of Time. This observation is not without merit. However, the presence of the terraformers as central characters within this particular subplot lends the narrative a distinct and external perspective. This contrasts sharply with the more internal and species-focused viewpoint presented through the history of the Porteids and their accelerated evolution in the first novel. Moreover, the chapters focusing on the terraformers introduce a unique atmosphere, one characterized by a sense of scientific curiosity and cautious exploration. This tone persists even under the shadow of their isolation from the rest of humanity. These sections are further enriched by the addition of body horror elements which were largely absent from Children of Time, adding an unsettling and unexpected layer to the story. These horrific developments from the terraformer subplot eventually carry over into the present-day timeline. By the time the Porteids and their human allies arrive in the newly discovered star system, they find it in complete disarray, fractured by chaos, conflict, and the long-term consequences of the events that took place centuries earlier. The newcomers must learn to navigate this turbulent environment, piecing together its history while confronting the dangers it now presents. Once again, Adrian Tchaikovsky offers a compelling exploration of how biology and evolution shape social behavior across species. He presents distinct and imaginative models of culture, society, and technology, each informed by the unique evolutionary paths of the species involved. The novel continues to deliver the fascination of first contact, but now through an even broader range of alien perspectives, so to speak. This diversity deepens the thematic resonance of the story and showcases Tchaikovsky's talent for speculative world-building. In terms of character development, it is the newly introduced terraformers who stand out most. In particular, the main point-of-view character among them proves to be a memorable addition. While somewhat peculiar, a trait not unexpected for a scientist, he is portrayed as somewhat introverted, intensely curious, as well as independent in thought and action. This quiet focus and thoughtful introspection provide a compelling contrast to the self-centered megalomania of Dr. Advrana Kern, whose presence dominated much of the first novel, especially considering that both share a somewhat similar role. Overall, Children of Ruin stands as a worthy sequel to Children of Time. While Adrian Tchaikovsky revisits some familiar plot structures and thematic elements, he introduces enough innovation and narrative variation to ensure that Children of Ruin never feels like a simple rehash of its predecessor. Tonally, the novel leans slightly darker, primarily due to the horror elements woven into the terraformer storyline. These moments add tension and emotional weight, distinguishing the novel's atmosphere from the more evolutionary and exploratory tone of Children of Time. If you enjoyed Children of Time, then Children of Ruin is a strong and rewarding continuation. However, it is important to note that the books in the trilogy are best read in order, as the overarching narrative and thematic development build meaningfully from one installment to the next. If you liked this video, you may also enjoy the other reviews and content on my channel. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to discuss the novels or if you want to suggest other books that I should review in the future. Please consider upvoting and subscribing, it is much appreciated. Thank you for watching and until next time.